Welcome back to the Outlier Chinese Character Masterclass, which teaches you how to master the art of learning Chinese characters. In this video, we're going to talk about a learning strategy called the pipelining strategy. The purpose of this strategy is to reduce the amount of mental effort required to learn a character's form, its pronunciations, and its core meanings. Also, it increases your learning efficiency. That is, you get more bang for your study time buck. The problem is, as non-native speakers of Chinese, learners are often trying to learn the character's form, meaning, and sound all at the same time. This not only increases the amount of mental effort required to learn the character, it also decreases learning efficiency. Additionally, you're also usually trying to learn grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, tones, chengyu, etc. In contrast, native speakers are already intimately familiar with the pronunciation and meaning of the word that they're learning how to write, so their learning burden is greatly decreased. They simply need to add a form to a word that they already know inside and out. This is why they're able to just simply write the character form over and over without actually understanding its working parts. Oddly enough, the solution to this problem comes from an unexpected part of our everyday lives: doing laundry. Learning a character's form, meaning, and sound all at the same time is kind of like doing multiple loads of laundry using the following process. Step 1. Put load number 1 into the washing machine and wash. Step 2. Remove load number 1 from the washing machine and put it into the dryer. Step 3. After the clothes are dry, pull out load number 1 and hang them up. Step 4. Put load number 2 into the washing machine and wash, etc., etc., until all 4 loads are washed, dried, and hung up. The smarter way of doing laundry would be to do it like this. Step 1. Put load number 1 into the washing machine and wash. Step 2. Remove load number 1 from the washing machine and put it into the dryer. Step 3. While number 1 is in the dryer, put load number 2 into the washing machine and wash. Step 4. After the clothes are dry, pull out load number 1 and hang them up. Step 5. Put load number 2 into the dryer. Step 6. Put load number 3 into the washing machine. And so on and so forth until the clothes are done. In the same way that the second method of doing laundry saves you time, applying that method to learning Chinese characters saves you mental effort by decreasing your learning burden. So how does that work? Say your goal is to learn 5 new characters per day. Your groups of 5 characters are learned on a 3-day cycle. On day 1, you prompt yourself with the Chinese pronunciation and try to recall the English meaning. On day 2, you prompt yourself with the English meaning and try to recall the Chinese pronunciation. This should be much easier now that you've already learned to go from Chinese to English. On day 3, you learn the character forms. Note that you are progressively more familiar with this set of words up until day 3 when you finally attach the characters to their respective words. At that point, attaching a character to its word is much easier than if you had tried to learn everything at the same time. But wait, doesn't this mean that I'm only learning 5 new characters every 3 days? Well, only if you arrange your learning like the inefficient way of doing laundry. So here's how you bring it all together. Basically, it's the same as the smarter way of doing laundry. On day 1, you start with 5 new words, which we'll call Group A. For these words, you prompt yourself with the Chinese pronunciation and try to recall the English meaning. Then on day 2, you do your Chinese to English for 5 new words, which we'll call Group B. For Group A, you prompt yourself with the English meaning and try to recall the Chinese pronunciation. Then on day 3, you do your Chinese to English for 5 new words, which we'll call Group C. Then you do your English to Chinese for Group B and learn the characters for Group A. The next day, you learn the characters for Group B, and so on and so forth. See how easy that is? Because you've already gone from Chinese to English, when you go from English to Chinese, the mental work will be lighter. And that's twice as true when you learn characters, because you will have already learned the word backwards and forwards. Of course, there are many variations of this method. such as, say, waiting a month or two before learning the character form. So you just have to experiment with it and see what fits your style of learning best. Remember, a character has 3 attributes: form, meaning, and sound. So you have to learn all 3 of those attributes for every character that you're going to learn. Learning them all on the same day is difficult because it's all unfamiliar. But spreading that information out over 3 days makes it much easier because by day 2 you're already familiar with one aspect, and so learning another will take less mental effort. So rather than 3 chunks of new difficult material, you're learning 1 chunk of unfamiliar material and 2 chunks of material that you're already familiar with. That is the main benefit of this strategy. In the next video, we'll talk about another learning strategy called the minimalist strategy. That is, ways to decrease the amount of information that you have to learn without losing anything essential.